Jalivand. I was a school teacher for 20 years in the Dallas School District. I taught at Booker T. Washington High School for Performing and Visual Arts, and I was the mathematics coordinator, the department head, and I decided to start a film program on campus because there were 4 arts programs, and there was not a film and video program at the time that I was there. So it started with a club, and it kind of grew into a big thing, and it became a department 10 years ago. And then last year I decided to resign and move on to take the film festival and my film endeavors into a larger platform. I wanted to reach out to the students that were not getting the type of resources that my students were getting. And this was a joint venture with Glennis Quick, who is the film teacher at Hockaday School, which is another school with lots of resources and the needed things to, if students want to go into film further. And so both of us felt that there was some, there was not an equal playing ground, let's say. When we would go to different film festivals for the youth, we would notice that us and Green Hill and just a very small number of students were actually getting all of the awards. And we saw that there were other students from other schools whose stories were sometimes better than ours, but they couldn't bring their vision into the screen in the same way that our students were. So we decided to create this new organization where any student could join us, so we could provide them leadership and mentorship and whatever else. So that's where Pegasus Student Festival started. Last year we went online. It's always been in person. It's a big, huge festival with lots of live music and students doing live performances, the spoken word, and food, and just celebrating the students' work. And but last year, because of COVID, we went online. And when we went online, we noticed that we were getting submissions from Japan and Iran and Israel. So we were like, we're going international, and we didn't want to turn them down. So we became international, and this is our second year to go global. And the festival is this Saturday at 7 p.m. PegasusFilmFestival.com. May 22nd, this Saturday, May 22nd, 7 p.m.
Is it going to be live streamed?
It's going to be live streamed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it something that we can put on our website to help get more views?
I think so. I will send you a link so that you can tune on.
We would definitely love to do that. If there's a way to embed the live stream, we would love to do that so our audience can see it while it's going on.
That's a great idea.
Sure.
Is there a cost for it?
There is. You can.
Well,
Yeah, no, but I think that it might be a different audience, because the audiences that are purchasing the tickets for us are supporting us because we're a nonprofit in educating the youth. That's how we raise money. The film festival is one of the arms that tries to, support and raise funds for the education that we provide for the underserved students.
how much are tickets?
Tickets are $6, and you can get them at PegasusFilmFestival.com, and the Falcon Events organization is providing the platform for it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit more about this international feel of it? Because we've always covered it and thought of all the local high schools benefiting from it, like Garland, Richardson high schools, but you have expanded to something international. Can you talk about having a whole nother high school group to deal with and showcase that? That's got to be something very exciting to expand it outside of our North Texas area.
Sure. So I was born in Tehran, Iran, and so I'm a Persian person, and there's a large group of us here in the United States, but I felt that it was important that our society, our neighbors, my friends understand my culture, and be able to relate and empathize, because especially last year, where there was the demonstrations, there is a huge number of intellectual, artistic youth that is going to be the next generation in Iran, and it's just a matter of time before it pops off what is in control of this group. They are not silent, and they fight, and they stand for something, and so because of that, what is the most common artistic form that you can actually speak to audiences immediately and get people's attention? It's not the same as sitting in front of a painting, even though I'm not putting that down. I was a painting major. So what I'm saying is that it was a perfect platform. And so also my mother and father were in the Iranian cinema, and so I had contacts there, and people were contacting and saying, we have a school, we have students, would you be open to that? And so that's how it started. I thought that it's important, and also it's been amazing to watch our students with other students around the world where they may not agree with politically, or they may have their ideas skewed in one way or another because of their environment, what we watch, and what we're, how we kind of are shaped to believe things. And they can actually talk to each other and talk about, oh yeah, I made this film and da-da-da-da, and we went down the street and we did this, and then this happened. They're sharing their stories of how they're making these films, and that actually teenagers and artists and human beings, we're all the same. It's, powers of oppression that skew our, the masses.
Well,
I
and
might get too crazy.
Where all have you gotten films from? You mentioned Israel and Iran, but also
we had Japan and Vietnam,
Romania.
Romania. Thank you, yeah.
And some of these kids wrote to y'all saying we cannot pay the submission fee.
That's
but
right.
We'd really like to have our film up. So
Yeah.
I mean, so talk about
We did.
that. They're reaching out.
Some of the countries that have sanctions with the United States, there is no, funds cannot be, they cannot put their credit card in there and, pay $15 for the submission fee or whatever. So they would write us, and of course we were thrilled to let them do that. Yeah. So
and they'll be able to see it. They'll be able to. Is that correct?
They will be able to see it.
That's amazing.
They will be able to see it. And last year they were able to see it, and it was so amazing to have the Q&A where we had international students and
On Zoom.
yeah.
We had Greece and England. I'm trying to think.
Last year we had more of a European splash and some Far East, and then this year we have kind of a random, all over. So yeah.
Are they mostly making shorts, or are you getting feature, or like longer?
We limit it to under 9 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. As a film teacher, the shorter the better. If you can tell me a story in 3 frames, you are amazing.
Yeah.
So the shorter the better. And originally when we had started, 15 minutes was it, and we realized quickly that, in 2 hours, what are you going to have? 8 kids? No. we wanted to have more opportunities. So the shorter, the better. And we have animation, nonfiction, and all types of narratives, whether it's comedy or horror or whatever it is. Yeah, sci-fi.
Well, with the pandemic, I mean, I'm making a generalization, but most kids have had to do this from home by themselves. Is that correct?
In this last year, yeah. Some of the kids made it with their pods, you know.
Okay, right.
Or their specific classes that were allowed to hang out with each other, but mostly they made it on their own, or they made it in the recent times, and so we were accepting films up to a week ago because people were pushing to finish their films.
Right.
Yeah.
So, have you noticed any theme or anything that from this year to the last few years because of the pandemic?
This year's films are phenomenal.
Yay! All right, we'll leave it at that.
It was hard. It was really hard choosing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Very
talk to
hard.
me about the student filmmaker, because over the last, let's say, 2 years, we've seen that student filmmaker evolve from just making silly films with their friends to really making an impact in the way we see the world. You know, the George Floyd protests and stuff related to that. The stuff at the Capitol building. We're seeing a lot of student filmmakers and young filmmakers make an impact. And this has only happened over the last couple of years, so talk to me a little bit about that as a film teacher, but also too as a film professional.
I think that it has to do a lot with the programs that are offered at the schools. Honestly, I do. I mean, that was what I was mentioning earlier, is that my motivation to quit the day job and go do this because I wanted an opportunity to work with those students who didn't get the same platform. You know, they didn't start in the same place. The race, they're like behind, everybody else is here. And so, yeah, I think it's very much to do with that. And then probably, this generation, we do not give enough credit to our millennials, and I can't say that word, excuse my English. And so Gen Z, Gen Y, we do not give enough credit to them. They are different from Generation X. And the last one. Sorry, I know. Oh my God. It's going to be all over the internet.
I was
Yeah.
like Senio. We wanted to completely melt reality and turn it into something else.
Yes.
And we're just playing around with everything, and now they're coming up with it. They're thank goodness.
Yes.
Everybody who was memeing is all high-fiving each other, going, however it happened.
Yeah.
Dottie and I are from the Oregon Trail generation.
Yeah.
But I mean, these guys are they have been handed a bad situation. How are they going to fix all of this? And it's not just we're probably just thinking of American kids because that's who we. But it's worldwide. Worldwide, they see exactly what's going on and they are empathetic towards each other. And I think the years of travel will come, when people used to go backpacking and trusting each other and, hanging out. Many years ago, they used to do that. Now, I think it's going to come back, that couch surfing thing that everybody was down on. No, you can't go couch surfing. Well, I went all over Europe when I was a teenager, and nobody ever, I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have, I was 14 and backpacking everywhere and staying in hostels. A lot of the folks after that never got that, experience, right? But I think that these guys, the Generation Y, they're definitely that way. Yeah.
Besides the programs
Yeah.
at school, do you think it's because of the technology, that the technology is readily available? Because
because of these, of course.
Yeah, of course. Any young person, they have most of the time, 4K camera built into their phone.
Yeah.
So you think it's also too the access to technology?
Well, access to technology makes it, but it's about the story. It's about the elements of a story. How are you going to tell that story? How are you going to build the character? and how are you going to talk about things that people are interested in? Who is your audience and all of.
Speaking of
Yeah.
story,
Yeah.
did you get stuff that will probably be very controversial in the country it's coming from?
Yes, we
How do
do.
you address that?
Straight on, we take it to the students. So the exciting thing about the film festival, the Pegasus Film Festival, is a festival that is sponsored by the Pegasus Media Project. The Pegasus Film Festival is run by students. I'm just their mentor sponsor that's in the background, and I'll answer questions. I mean, they were in a 2-hour meeting this morning, and they were in a 2-hour meeting last night, and literally, this morning they were talking to the Falcon Crest, and they were ordering the films, what order they were going to play them, and how they were going to put them together. And last night they were talking about their social media plan for the rest of this week. So we have different departments. They are very serious, amazing, working extremely hard to make all of this stuff happen. And so talking about how to handle controversial things, they talk about it. And then they have mentors like Kelly and I are mentors to those students. Also, we have Raquel Chapa and Bart Weiss. They're also mentors. The Dallas, the
Right.
Video Association of Dallas has been our fiscal sponsor.
Right. Do you have to say no sometimes if you feel
Yes.
like it's crossing the line?
Yes, yeah. You can tell a very effective story without being tacky or exploitative, like taking advantage of a situation that might be extremely sad or.
Right.
Have you seen a major difference when you had this through the schools now independently doing it, as far as your choice of films that are coming in? Is it, for those that went to the old Pegasus Festival and saw those films, were they expecting something completely different now, or is there still similarities in the types of films that are being chosen?
There is some similarities, but it has changed quite a lot. It has changed a lot. When we first started, it was just at my school, and so actually there's a very rich history with this. In the early 2000s, there was the Deep Ellum Film Festival. Do you guys remember the Deep Ellum Film Festival with Michael? And so back then, there was not a student block during that time. And Michael was a friend of another friend of mine who came to Booker T and spoke to me and said, "Hey, we heard you started this film club. Do you guys want to put a student block?" And I was like, "Sure." And we have a very talented pool of students, so it was exciting for the kids to try this new artistic form. They had video classes before, but they had never been participating in these types of things. Anyway, so that happened, and then the director of the Deep Ellum Film Festival went on to do AFI, and he took us with him. So we then were the student shorts. And then some years later, they opened up that festival to all high schools. And so now it became a high school, which they have an excellent high school block that they play at the Dallas International Film Festival.
Can you talk a bit about the North Texas scene? You brought up Bart. I know obviously college is something he's been doing, but he's helped a lot of the high schools. Booker T's been great. Garland's big.
Right.
How important is the North Texas community in the student film scape? Because I feel there are areas of the country, when you think of like the Brooklyn schools and New York schools are doing this, California's always been there, but North Texas is one of the forefront as far as that. You're leading that group of talent. What has that been like to see not only the kids come up, but the material that's come out of it? And now we're seeing more taboo and material that is making a difference. Tell us a bit about being able to open the North Texas corridor internationally?
Yeah, there is some absolutely amazing film teachers right here in the DFW area from some of the schools that you just mentioned, and more. You know, I don't want to mention any one person because I don't want to leave anybody behind. But they are all amazing, and what I have noticed is that coming into this from an educator's perspective, we have a certain compassion for seeing youngsters do their best and meet their potential, or at least try to reach there. So we're very open with our curriculum and methodologies and our secrets. So it's like, I did this, what did you do? Let's do that. I did this little thing and it created a bunch of really exciting, ideas, or, like one thing that, oh my gosh, I'm going to go off on a different tangent.
Okay, go
Yeah, like one of the exercises that I do with my students is they put a notepad next to their bed, and they write their dreams before they open their eyes. So when you're sleeping, if you ever wake up in the middle of the night, or when you first wake up, if you don't fully awake and you start writing, it's real stream of consciousness. And if you put that aside and read it a day later, it's a really weird experience. And I think it's like artistic exercises where it stimulates creativity and kind of gets your juices going, things like that. Like we shared those kinds of things. But you can ask another teacher and they might be like, yeah, we talk about cameras and how, my experience is I really enjoy creativity and more of fine arts, poetic storytelling and things like that. But still, the elements of story, they have to still be there. So remember that, kids.
Backing off of Gotti's question, Gotti and I, we cover about 40, 50 film festivals a year.
Yeah.
We do about 20 of them here in Texas, and we run into your former students, and we're like, so where did you go to school, where you're from? Booker T. So how does that make you feel as an educator that years down the road you're seeing your students blossom and getting some really great jobs in the entertainment industry? I know, like, I won't name names, but there are several of them that are now working in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So how does that make you feel that they went from this PEGASUS Film Festival or one of your classes to now they're making money, they're making a good living, and they're doing what you taught them?
Right. My son is one of them.
So talk to us about how does that make you feel as an educator, and how does it drive you as an educator?
How does it drive me? It's why I wake up. I don't have any other life. I really don't. I really love it. I love it, and it's really important to me. And I think it's the way that we can try to solve our problems. I mean, look at the EarthX Film Festival. I'm positive that it's had a huge impact on the conservative, Republican minded individuals who may want to just stick to the doctrine of their party versus thinking individually from case to case to case. And EarthX has huge conservative sponsorship, right? All those people watch all of those, and it has changed the minds of many of those folks. So it's nice to see that. So yeah, we can make a change by changing each other's minds through communication rather than fighting.
Well, I'd also think that if you teach solid storytelling, someone can always pick up a camera and learn more later.
Yes.
At least I know that's how my programs were structured. Like, if you master storytelling,
Yeah.
you'll either find somebody or you will learn.
Yes, yes. So one of the things was that, I always think, through desperation comes innovation.
Right.
So when the program started at Booker T, I didn't have access to any you know, cameras or computers or anything like that. I was in the math department, and there was a computer lab that there was some video audio that was being taught, and an animation that was being taught. There was one class, I think, that some students had been in. But when we started this, it was literally out of desperation. So if we got a camera, if somebody loaned us a camera, we had to like use it. So, and we had built up the story in our heads of how we were finally going to do it, to where when you finally got your tool, you were ready, because you had been dreaming, thinking, how are we going to do it? Well, maybe we should do it like this. Maybe we should do it like this. It'll be better if it'll be like this. That will tell it, you know. So
Okay, so we had tons of cameras in my high school program, right?
Yeah.
We had cameras from the 70s that this is the 90s, this is like the late 90s.
Yeah.
Now they had cameras that they had given us from the old television stations. We had new cameras.
Yeah.
We had like everything. We had brand new Macs to mix it on.
Yeah.
Here's what we didn't have, okay? We did not have the kind of teacher who could stop us from trying to make like a Jerry Springer type of pilot that like literally went on public access and had to be like, wow. So like none of our stuff made it anywhere. Like it would never go.
right. So one of the funnest things is that, you know, for at least the program that I wrote the curriculum for, you know, French New Wave is a must. We start out with French New Wave, and then all of a sudden you recognize all the film kids on campus, because they all start looking and walking in the same way, you know, right? So you were mentioning it earlier, so I thought that right away. It was like, if you haven't watched Breathless, you're not a filmmaker, you know. So it's really fun. So really, we created that. I think that my students were my inspiration. I don't even know how things got on the level that they got. It was like, before we knew it, we were doing our own Dogma 96, you know.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, who's that? What is that? And then people would start going, well, you don't know what Dogma 95 is? Well, you don't know about the Swedish movie. You don't know about you know, so, and when you're in a school where art is encouraged, and you know, you're studying, and so you're cooler than the next person. Or I don't know if it's cool, it's just like, art is like this subculture that connects us.
We had a good visual art professor that
Yeah.
Dr. Perfetto was just so 1970s broadcast. She like had no
Yeah.
idea how to read in the newsroom. Like,
Yeah.
Like in the whole comedic sense.
Yeah. It's really amazing. I don't know if you guys know Shirin Neshat, is an Iranian fine artist and filmmaker, and she just had an amazing exhibit at the Modern.
I saw it.
Did you see it? Did you see all those films?
I saw some of it. Like,
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had like 4 screening rooms of her films. It was so much fun that a lot of my students were writing me and telling me, oh my gosh, we knew about her, we went and saw her, and everybody's like, well, who is this new person? Oh, they go, oh, it's not new. Let me tell you about Shirin Neshat. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important to expose, you know, the storytellers of tomorrow, to all the arts that, you know, can tell their stories. Yeah.
Can you talk about how the students help other students? What is the actual process of what they do, and what comes of the funds that you raise from the festival? What do they do in the summer?
So we choose, yes. So there's two things in that. Every student that has an adult mentor, they mentor another student that doesn't have an adult mentor, so it gets passed down. So then when they get moved up and start working with an adult, then they'll have a younger person, less experienced person. So it's like a chain, it's being passed along. That's one of the ways. And then the funds that we raise is summer intensives. We have a citywide call for stories, and students come from all over they pitch their story, they give a presentation, and if they get chosen, then we produce their films. And we pick about 20 of those students who pitched, and the agreement is one of the stories will be picked, and everyone will work on that story. And then we go to work on that, and then we have departments, and we try to do it as closely as to a small, like a skeleton crew, like what you guys did, except it's high school kids. Yeah.
Do you think that's going to happen this summer?
So this summer we can't do that because of COVID, but we will next summer.
Okay.
But this summer we are engaged in another endeavor. So the Pegasus Media Project, we just got awarded a grant from the Art to Work that's going to be happening very soon in mid-July till October. It is designed for students that are out of high school. It's the in between, so they're out of high school, they may be going to college, they might have finished college, but they're having to work some kind of a frontline job. We are going to pay them to quit those jobs to come and work with us so that they can go to their,
So
we
have
place
that
them.
experience?
Yeah,
Oh my
it's a
gosh.
hands-on experience, and they get to work on with real production companies and mentored by filmmakers to produce their own short films and hopefully get the jobs that they want.